Well, welcome to North Las Vegas and North Las Vegas City Hall. My name is Patrick Walker. I'm the Public Information Officer here for the City of North Las Vegas. We really appreciate all of you taking some time to come out and meet with us. We have a few things that we'd like to announce that are very exciting. Let me just first take a moment to recognize the dignitaries in the room with us. Of course, we have Mayor Lee is with us, Councilwoman Pamela Goins-Brown. I see Councilman Scott Black, Mayor Pro Tem Isaac Barone, and then our city leadership, executive staff, and some of the folks as well who are helping administer some of our programs that we are excited to announce today. So a big thank you for coming in and a big thank you for all you do. Our staff here in North Las Vegas are top notch, and they are really the reason why we are able to do what we do. It has been nearly 5 months now since the COVID-19 pandemic upended the sense of normal here in North Las Vegas. And since day one, our mayor, our council, and executive staff, they have all been focused not only on health and safety concerns, but also ways to help our residents and our businesses really weather the pandemic on the economic front. In that time, our team has really been thinking outside of the box to do whatever we can do to help our residents and our businesses and support our community. You've heard about many of the examples that we've talked about in the past several months. We have deployed parking and code enforcement officers to check on businesses. We have assisted the Southern Nevada Health District with contact tracing. We have assigned some of our employees over to 3 Square to help prepare meals. We have been diligently following the state and the governor's directives and working side by side with our partners across the regions to find solutions to new challenges as they come up. Our friends at Clark County have recognized our efforts and graciously provided a sub-grant of CARES Act dollars that enable us to start passing funding directly on to our residents and businesses. Today, we are very excited to launch our newest assistance program. And to kick things off, I'd like to welcome Mayor John Lee to say a few words. Mayor Lee, come on up.
Very much. Thank you very much for being here today. I'm actually glad to see you here. We're very excited about the opportunity we have to support North Las Vegas, our residents and our community and our business owners. I'm very excited about that. I don't know if you know this, there's 250,000 people who live in North Las Vegas, and they are the salt of the earth, the backbone of this community. They leave every day North Las Vegas, and they go out to work in an environment where it's hard work, and they work very hard for their families. They work hard to provide an opportunity so they can realize a piece of the American dream. But I don't want to go out on a limb and say I know this for sure, but it's been said to me that North Las Vegas has been hit the hardest of all the communities. And our people work in gaming, tourism, and hospitality. They work in construction. They work out there in the real world in conventions. They have a lot of opportunities to support this community with their efforts. But now they're all struggling. And it's my duty as a city council's privilege to help them in any way that we can. Our small businesses are the backbone of this economy. And our goal in North Las Vegas is to diversify the economy of Southern Nevada, and we need to keep these small businesses open for business. The CARES Act dollars we received from the county, and explicitly the County Commission, who went out of their way to make sure that North Las Vegas wasn't left out of the pot of money that should have come directly to us from the state. And at this time, we need a full allocation of that money to continue to come. We've got half the money from the county to help out our businesses. But Marilyn Kirkpatrick and the County Commission have done a great job by getting us some badly needed money now for our residents and our businesses. We have money right now. We have millions of dollars that have been given to the city of North Las Vegas to help out our small businesses. We had 10 people who have applied today, and we are looking very closely at making sure the right companies get the business and the money spent properly for our residents. I'm proud of our staff, and I'm proud of our city council and our colleagues in North Las Vegas who have taken to heart to wearing the mask, to doing the things they need to do, to doing all the protective things that will stop the coronavirus, and how they represent and how they serve their community so well. But I just want to go on the record and say, this is a serious issue. We need to pull together as a community, help each other, solidify each other's financial opportunities if we can, and to finally work our way out of this situation by following the directives that the governor sets up in place. Now, I'm going to finish right now, and I think what I'll do is just take a second to thank Pam Goins-Brown for being the leader for North Las Vegas for this issue. She's been the champion. She's testified in front of the state. She's on the phone with the governor's staff. Her and our city manager, Ryan Juden, have done a great job at getting this money to us. The council's been behind them 100%, but it's because of their leadership that we have this money today. So like I say, we have money available today. Now, Ms. Goins-Brown is going to come up here and announce the program and explain what the funding for the program looks like. And she's going to allow you to ask questions or our staff to come up and answer questions on how we're going to administer this fund. So with that, I'd like to invite my wonderful friend and colleague, Pam Goins-Brown, to thank you publicly for your leadership in this arena that we needed. Thank you.
Good morning. So today we'd like to announce our North Las Vegas CARES Small Business Assistance Program, which will provide up to $3.25 million to small businesses that have not been able to get PPP funding or SBA loans. We are granting $10,000 to businesses with fewer than 20 employees and $15,000 to businesses with 21 to 40 employees. The funds will be available until the program runs out. We want to help as many businesses as possible here in North Las Vegas. This program will mean the difference between your favorite restaurant closing or staying open, the boutique your wife shops at keeping their employees at work, and those employees bringing home a paycheck to feed their families. This program will ensure that the life savings that people have invested to start a business will not be lost in vain. The social contract dictates that we in government and leadership provide for our residents. That's what Congress intended for this funding, and that's exactly how we are going to use this money to help the people and businesses that we represent. Since the very beginning of this pandemic, it has been clear that the need is great here in North Las Vegas. We are the largest minority-majority city in the state and one of the largest minority-majority cities in the country. And that trends you have all been reporting on, we see it here as well. According to the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, if you're black and you contract COVID-19, you are 5 times likely to be hospitalized than if you are white. If you are Hispanic, you are 4 times more likely to be hospitalized. The statistics are staggering, truly staggering. If you look at the data from the earliest peak of this pandemic, 2/3 of the people who died from complications related to COVID-19 were African American. That's 2/3. So if you can imagine my surprise and my dismay when North Las Vegas, arguably the city in most need of federal funding in this state, is one of only 4 municipalities left out of the governor's distribution of federal CARES Act dollars. That is not what Congress intended or what the Treasury outlined. The relief was intended for everyone, particularly our communities of color that have been so disproportionately impacted and historically underserved. Our residents demand and deserve more. Let me circle back to our businesses for a moment, which is why we created this specific program. We have heard from over 200 of our small businesses about how this pandemic is affecting them. Of that small number, 86 have had to temporarily close. 7 are done, permanently closed. Most have laid off some, if not all, of their employees, and many of these layoffs are permanent. They're not coming back. Many of the businesses are minority or women-owned. I am extremely thankful to Chairwoman Marilyn Kirkpatrick and the rest of the Clark County Commission for recognizing that we need to get assistance to our residents and businesses as soon as possible. The county generally gave us nearly a $24 million advance from their own federal funding, which is roughly half of the CARES Act passed through dollars that we should be receiving from the state. This is tremendous to help our community, and we are extremely appreciative, but providing this funding also takes away from other relief programs that the county has to offer, and that hurts all of Southern Nevada's residents in North Las Vegas and elsewhere. We'll continue our fight of our fair share, and when we receive it from the state, we will reimburse the county so that the city can offer additional programs to the valley. The remaining dollars we receive from the state will enable us to extend programs for our residents and businesses and create assistance for programs as the need arises. I want to thank all of you for being here today and helping us spread the word about these critical programs that our community and residents too often are forgotten. The funds are needed here in North Las Vegas. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it back over to Patrick, and he's going to explain how the program works.
All right, Councilwoman, thank you very much. So one thing that our city leadership made abundantly clear to the staff is that any programs that we create must be quick and easy to apply for. Literally every day that goes by, that's another business potentially that closes its doors. And acting quickly, as the mayor would say, we work on two speeds here, fast and faster in North Las Vegas. Within just about an hour of the funds from the county hitting our account here at the city of North Las Vegas, we had our programs and our website, nlvcares.com, up and running so that we could begin processing applications, and that's why we were able to announce that today at least we've received about 10 applications thus far. So we are working quickly to get these dollars out to our businesses. So as I mentioned, we launched nlvcares.com, which is a central hub for our residents and businesses to find the assistance programs that are open to them. It creates a one-stop portal for easy assistance. It's available in English and in Spanish, and the forms, they're fairly simple. They don't take more than maybe a couple of minutes to complete. We currently have 8 assistance programs that are either administered by the city or our regional partners that are available on the website that can be applied for directly. We've also redeployed our library staff to assist in spreading the word about these programs to our local businesses and helping owners secure those grants. They've already made hundreds of phone calls, and we'll be spending the next several weeks making sure that this funding reaches those in our community who need it. So for the NLV Cares Small Business Program, Assistance Program, it's very easy to apply. Using a computer or a smartphone, just go to nlvcares.com, and then you can click on NLV Cares Small Business Assistance Program to begin the application process. That's it. It's that quick. It's that simple. We have more programs that are in the works, of course, that will help our residents and other members of our community as well. You'll be hearing more about them soon. Those also will be available on nlvcares.com. And with that, we have some time for a couple of questions. Mayor Pro Tem Barone is here, and he can answer some questions in Spanish. I know we have some members of the Spanish media here as well. Or you can do pull-asides as well after the conference if you would like more of a one-on-one feel. We also have staff available for questions. So at this time, we'll open it up to you. Travis.
You mentioned that these dollars that the state had received were meant to go to everyone, but yet somehow North Las Vegas was left off the list. Is there some sort of recourse or anything you can do to, state your case to the state and hopefully get those funds released to us, to you rather,
Yes.
the same way they would be to any other municipality?
Yeah, we have reached out to the state, and part of the reason that we're here today and that I did testify is to bring awareness to the unfairness and the disproportionate amount that was not granted to us. And so I feel the more that we speak about it, we continue our conversations with the governor's office. Hopefully someone is listening and they will decide to follow the guidelines that were set by the federal government.
Did they give you any reason for, skipping over, or was there just zero balance for you and that's all it was?
The funds are there. Now, why they chose to do how they did, I don't know. Could it be mistake on their part, or someone's not following the guidelines? That's what we need to get to the bottom of, so that we can get those fundings that are so deserving to our community.
Any message to the governor right now about all this?
I'd like to ask him why. Where's our funding? If you follow the guidelines set by the federal government, it clearly states the outline. If you check off the checklist of things that it's supposed to go to, we fit all the criteria.
How does this hurt North Las Vegas? I mean, it is one of the most hurt communities
Yes.
right now. Is this like a slap in the face? Does it feel like?
It feels like a huge slap in the face to us. It's affecting programs. We need to keep our small businesses open. We need to make sure that our residents are safe, that they have food, water, shelter, that we're taking care of everyone in North Las Vegas.
And how big is the impact has COVID had on this community, for those who don't quite understand?
It's a matter of which businesses can stay open and which cannot. Of the ones that we've heard from, they've been hit pretty hard. We have families out there that are struggling, that do not know, where their next meal is coming from. Are they going to be evicted from their residence? So it's very important to us to hear from our residents so that we know how many are struggling, so we can put together a plan, and hopefully some of these funds can go to help this out.
So one of the things you said was that you were ready with your website and the program and the forms and all of those things, so that as soon as that money hit your account, you could ramp up the applications for these funds. How long did that take? Is that just another process of North Las Vegas being a little bit faster than everybody else, so that you're ready the very moment that those funds come in?
Well, Ryan, do you want to come up here, our city manager? Our city manager has been in direct contact with our staff and our community, working forth with all the procedures that take place. That would be a good question for him.
Thank you. Oh, Ryan Juden, RyanNN, Juden. I don't know why it's two N's. I think my parents wanted a girl, but they got me. Yeah, it's a good question. I think it is an example of how fast North Las Vegas, how our staff is able to quickly turn things around. It's important to note that these dollars were actually passed by Congress in March. So it's very unfortunate that here we are these many months later, while businesses have closed and people have struggled, and we haven't received the dollars. So while other states were deploying the dollars in early April, we now finally have the dollars, and we wanted to make sure we could do whatever we can to get them quickly into the community where they need them.
Not just other states, but other cities and
Sure.
county in Nevada too.
That's correct.
Do you have a list of businesses right now that are listed closing their doors tomorrow or in the next month?
Yeah, we did. We went and surveyed all of our businesses to identify those that were struggling, those that needed help. Actually, what happened is, and we have library staff here today, they've been tremendous in this entire process because libraries were closed down. And because of that, we knew that even though the libraries were closed down, there were still important things for staff to do. So library staff played a critical role, and what they did is they contacted businesses. They see what problems they had. As soon as the federal dollars were available at the federal level, they contacted small businesses to connect them with dollars to see if they had any challenges or problems that we could try and resolve for them while we were waiting for these dollars to come. They also contacted small businesses to see what their needs were and to let them know that these dollars would be coming. So we made sure that they were primed and ready so that as soon as we got them, they were able to submit their applications. So that's why this is important for you all to get the information out to businesses to let them know that the dollars are here and now they can go get them.
Do you have any specific number of businesses impacted for the pandemic?
I don't think we have a specific number, but those 200 businesses that responded to the survey, I think it's fair to say that they all saw at least moderate impacts from it.
Yeah, we actually do have some numbers we can get you, and what I actually kind of liked about these numbers is they demonstrated the true challenge that local governments are going to have in the future, which is we took the businesses that we knew that had closed, that were not coming back, and the amount of years that they had been taxpayers in North Las Vegas, and it represented over 2,000 years of tax-paying dollars collectively. That's how many years that they'd been paying taxes to North Las Vegas, because it's very critical that entities take these dollars and push them into the community so that the community can stay alive, so they can thrive, and we'll have them there for decades to come, instead of taking it and using it for internal purposes, which doesn't really service the community.
In case that a business receive an SBA loan, are they able to apply for this assistance? Or?
Yes, they are. Yeah, one of the things we wanted to make sure with this plan is that we took, I think it was already mentioned, we wanted to streamline it, make it extremely simple. Congress did a tremendous job when they passed the CARES Act. They made sure that it was unique in a bill that came through Congress, and the fact that it didn't have the traditional strings attached. And that goes to the intent of Congress, is they designed this to be very quickly able to be deployed into a community. Even though we didn't get it quick, it was designed to be that way. So we made sure that our applications reflect that, and it's very easy for businesses to apply. We don't have a whole bunch of different strings and different hoops they have to jump through because we want to make sure that we're providing aid as quick as we can.
And any kind of oversight
to some way, but I want to make sure every business that's out there that meets the criteria applies. There is oversight with this. These are federal dollars. But that's also another area of the law that's unique in this law, is that it allows us to use our reasonable efforts to ensure that the dollars go. But there's not a heightened, this heightened standard that normally is there because of the design of these dollars to provide quick relief.
So once they meet the criteria, how soon can they get their money? Right after they're vetted, the background check, their
5 to 7 days. There you go. Try and do that anywhere else.
Really quick, when did you guys figure out that you weren't going to get the money from the government?
So we learned about that. Does anybody remember that date? I remember it was a Thursday. It was a bad Thursday, and it was a very long weekend after that. Does anybody remember? Yeah, whenever he announced the allocation. So he announced the allocation. We got about an hour head start, just as a courtesy call to let us know that we were going to be excluded from the allocation. But every other city in the state was going to be receiving an allocation. And from that moment, we worked throughout the weekend. The councilwoman was testifying before the legislature the very next day. Currently, where it stands is we're working with legislative leadership. We have some tremendous legislators that represent the city of North Las Vegas that have been working with us. And these dollars will be in the interim finance committee of the legislature, and we intend to go to them to receive the rest of them. It's important to recognize, too, that the dollars that Clark County has now provided for the residents of North Las Vegas, those dollars come at the expense of regional services. So it's very important that we also go back and make sure those dollars go back to Clark County. Clark County needs to be refunded the dollars that they've lent to the local governments. If it's not the case, then what you're going to see is you're going to see a tremendous amount of overfunding of people that live in northern Nevada, because they're going to receive a per-person allocation much greater than you would in southern Nevada if we're not able to capture those dollars that were intended to come here.
What is the dollar amount? Just curious, what is the dollar amount that you were hoping for when you added everything up that you were expecting to come to North Las Vegas?
Well, if you use the congressional math and you use the math that the Treasury Department had, it was $55 million, roughly, that would have been coming to North Las Vegas. We're fine using the governor's math, assuming that it's allocated to everybody, and with that math, it's $46 million. Yeah, well, it's not so much in need. We're more than that in need in reality. I mean, our budget deficit over 2 years is in the $80 million range.
So you're
It's
expecting 46 million, and right now you got 0 and you got 2 from the county?
We got 24 from the county, yeah. And it's important to remember that, so you asked a question about our need. These are dollars that are for the community. The only dollars that we're using in City Hall of these is dollars that go directly towards costs that we incurred that were unbudgeted going into the year. So, for example, the cost for hand sanitizer, PPEs that we have for all of our first responders. All the costs that we've had to incur, we're refunding that, because if we don't refund that, then that comes out of other programs, other programming that we've budgeted for the residents. And then the rest of it, over 80%, is going directly into the community. And when we get the other 23 million from the legislature, we'll be pushing the same amount of that into the community to make sure that we're shoring up small businesses, helping people stay in their homes, pay their rent, avoid eviction, things like that.
All right, with that, we will wrap things up. Again, on behalf of the mayor, city council, and city staff, we really do appreciate you coming out here today and helping us spread the word about our program. And I guess the final message would be to business owners here in North Las Vegas, if you're listening, please go to nlvcares.com and apply so that we can help move this money out into the community. So again, any one-on-ones, just feel free to approach me after and we'll set that up. Thank you very much, everybody.